Hello, everyone. I'm your director, David Camp, and from accusations to threats to literally screaming, yelling, and recording my sister, our crazy neighbor yet again once returns more with another video to be made about him. So buckle up, everybody. We're in for a doozy on this one. For those of you who don't know, we have this neighbor who has been complaining about our dogs constantly. In the first few complaints, we went ahead and started shutting our dogs up. And then he started antagonizing the dogs every time they were silent, just to get them to bark again. He sprayed alcohol in our dogs' faces, he's threatened me, screamed and yelled at my mother, and recently has decided to record my sister while she's watching the dogs outside. Which, by the way, does not make me a very happy person. So during this video, I might get a little intense about some things, but don't worry. It's just because I really, really want to get rid of my neighbor. Not by killing him, but like having him get arrested, for those of you who go to the extreme on that one. Anyways, let's get into the video. So, last week, evidently my neighbor decided to tie his dog, who by the way is vicious, has kennel cough, its ears are rotting and covered in flies, and has a variety of diseases such as rabies and various others, because he refuses to let it inside, barely feeds it, and lets it rot away outside. And up until recently, he has moved the dog to the front yard and tied it to our fence. And on camera, which I can show you all the footage while blurring out his face as to avoid any suing or getting this video taken down, my mother went ahead and recorded him, and he said that, my mother said that he said that he's tying the dog to the fence, so then it tears the fence down. Now, in editing, I'm going to go ahead and put down the video for y'all to watch, so go ahead and enjoy. So, to counter the fact that he decided to tie the dog to the fence, which, by the way, it was rather vicious to our dogs, I let the dogs in and took a ton of scrap that we have in the backyard, since my mom looked up the law, and I'm allowed to tie whatever the heck I want to our fence. So, I went ahead and zip-tied a ton of metal sheets to our side of the fence, and a ton of little grates in the areas that the dog could bite our dogs through. And he came out of his house later on that night all smug and whatnot. And so I looked directly at him because he was in his side yard and he was staring at me. And then I looked at the fence, smiled, and walked inside my house. He went ahead and got this weird look on his face. Well, I didn't walk inside the house, but I kind of just sat down. He got this weird look on his face and he walked into the front yard, saw it, and then he went back inside his house. And then later on that night, I come back home with my dad from work. I have a job. That doesn't really concern anything, but I come home from work with my dad, and we just see the neighbor standing there, leaning up against his car, staring at our fence. And we go ahead and ignore him, and we let the dogs in. And we check the cameras to see if he did anything to our fence, and he just stood there for 2 hours in the dark, staring at our fence. He went ahead and untied his dog later on the next day and put him back in the backyard. And then he tied the dog back to the fence. And so my dad decided, screw it, I'm done. Took down all the metal sheeting, took down all the junk I had zip tied, and then we took the real metal sheeting out. These really long, big panels that we have, and we screwed a couple holes into them, put zip ties through it, and then we took some posts that we have, and we put concrete in the ground, and now we have ourselves a nice little privacy fence against him. He was not happy. He glares at us whenever he gets the chance to see us through his side yard, because he can't look at us through his front yard anymore. And I forgot to mention this, but not only that, not the other day, but also last week, my sister was sent out to watch the dogs, and I was out there with her, but I was cleaning up the yard, and I was taking a ladder to the backyard. I knew that the neighbor was in his side yard, but I didn't, think it meant anything. So I walked into the side yard, our side yard, and I put the ladder away before I come back to the front yard, and he's recording my sister. So I go ahead and give him a nice little stare for like 2 seconds, and then he immediately turns off his phone and walks back inside. That did not make me or my father happy. It definitely didn't make my mother happy, and my sister was a little afraid of this guy, and that's where we got the idea to put up the fence. I'll go ahead and show you all a photo of the privacy fence, but I think that's going to be it for this video. I know it may seem a little short today, but I'm rather annoyed with this guy. I'm just kind of happy that we got the privacy fence up. We know his sister, her name, I'm not going to say her name. We'll just call her Sarah. His sister, Sarah, used to live in this house, and, well, she doesn't like him either. She agrees with us. He's absolutely insane, and she hasn't talked to him in quite a while. So, go ahead and pray for Sarah, and pray for us to live in peace instead of fear from this neighbor. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you click that subscribe button while you're at it. And, yeah. Hope y'all are having a great day. I know I am. And cut.
Record the whole thing. They want to cause problems? Let's have proof for the cops this soon.
Hey, you know what? Your dog gets off all the time, so I'm not worried. You are really
Y'all
sure.
really tripping, man. Because you sit outside and let the dogs out.
No, I sat out here and I told them to be quiet, and I got them to be quiet. You do everything to antagonize them. You are constantly trying to be a jerk. Now you're putting your dog right up against the fence line.